What is up, everybody? We're back here at King Film Sports for my NFL 2022 regular season predictions. We're going to be going through all 8 divisions here. I'm going to be giving my season predictions, record predictions for all 32 teams, and then I'm going to be setting up the playoffs and then giving you guys a sneak preview into my Super Bowl and my Super Bowl champion for this season. So without further ado, let's get into it with the NFC East first, and to take the top spot in the NFC East, give me the Philadelphia Eagles at 10-7. They went 9-8 last year, and they did get embarrassed in the playoffs by the Bucs, but I think they'll be a win better this season. I think Jalen Hurts will be better as quarterback. I don't think he'll make as many mistakes, and I think he will be more accurate, and I think A.J. Brown will help a lot with that as well. I think their defense and offensive line are very good, so I think they will end up winning this division. Second, we got the Cowboys. They did win this division last year, but there has not been a repeat champion in the NFC East in 18 years, so I am betting on that trend continuing, as well as the Cowboys have had some offensive line issues. Tyron Smith now out for multiple months, and they already have to replace some starters there as well. And then the receiver position, they have some gaps there, as well as Zeke. I don't think he'll be as good, so I think Tony Pollard will have to step up there. And their defense, I think it will have some problems. Sure, they have Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs, but other than that, they'll have some things to replace there. So I think 9-8, they take a couple steps down. Next, we got third place Commanders at 7-10. I think they went 7-10 last year, so I'm predicting that again. I don't see a whole lot of improvement here. Yeah, they have some stars on that defensive line, but still, this offense with Carson Wentz, I don't think they're going to make any major upgrades there. They have Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson, but still, I just don't think that this team got a whole lot better. They have a decently easy schedule, so they could end up surprising people, but I just don't think that is the case for this Commanders team, so give me 7-10 for them. And then in last place, give me the New York Giants at 5-12. I just think that this is going to be the same type of season for them. I think they are on a good path and made a good coaching hire with Brian Daboll, but I just do not think Daniel Jones is the answer for this team. He's way too inaccurate, and he makes way too many turnovers for this team. He's not reliable at all. I think their defense is solid, and their offensive line could use some help. But skill position players-wise, especially the receivers and the tight ends, they just don't have it. We'll see what Saquon can do this season, but I just am not favorable on these Giants, so give me 5-12 for them. Next division, we're going to go with the NFC North here. And in first place, no surprise at all, I'm going to be taking the Packers at 11-6. It's worth noting that they have finished with 13 wins in each of the last 3 seasons under Matt LaFleur. And I think that a lot of Packers fans would actually take first in the division at 11-6 this season, considering that they are losing Devontae Adams. I think this is going to be more of a power running team this year, considering that they have A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, who both rushed for 800 yards last year. I think that they will both surpass 1,000 yards this season. Aaron Rodgers is going to need a lot of help, but there's no point in betting against Aaron Rodgers just because he has been so good these last couple of years. I think he will at least continue that, if not win a 3rd consecutive MVP here for the Green Bay Packers. And then their defense has continued to upgrade. They have so many stars there. So I think even with the loss of Devontae Adams, this team is still going to be good at 11-6. Next, in second place, I've got the Vikings getting a couple more wins this season at 10-7. I like the coaching hire of Kevin O'Connell. I think that Mike Zimmer was too rigid and conservative, held Kirk Cousins in this offense back. They went 8-9 last year, and they got screwed in a few one-possession ball games that I think they will win this upcoming year. So give me the Vikings to finish at 10-7. I think Kirk Cousins has another great statistical season, and I think that they win some big games that gives Kirk Cousins some more respect. I think Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson have some good years as well. Sure, their defense is aging, but I think that the offense will carry them to this 10-win record. Next team, we got the Lions at 6-11. I think that they will fight hard this year under Dan Campbell, but the simple reality is that they do not have the talent to be an actual competitor and contender. I think that they will fight hard, maybe win some one-possession games that they're not supposed to, but I just do not think Jared Goff is good enough for them to be an actual playoff team. So give me the Lions at 6-11 there. And then fourth place, the Bears, going to be one of the worst NFL teams this year, if not the worst. I do like Justin Fields somewhat, but just the rest of this Bears offense, they're devoid of all weapons. They have Darnell Mooney. Sure, he's fine, but even out of the backfield, David Montgomery is the best they have, and their offensive line isn't good. I think Eberflus might help the defense out, but their defense was already solid, so I just do not think that the offense will be that good this year, and I think they will be 4-13. Next, we got the NFC South, and in first place here, no surprise, again, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 12-5, same record as last year. I don't think they got much better or much worse from last year. Sure, there's been all the drama with Tom Brady retiring and then unretiring, then leaving camp for a couple of weeks, but I think they're just going to be all right. They are without Chris Godwin maybe for a couple of weeks to start out the year, and they will be without O.J. Howard and Rob Gronkowski. So maybe you get concerned that they don't have that many weapons, but still Mike Evans and a couple of other receivers there and Leonard Fournette. Sure, they had a center retire and a couple of O-lineman injuries and stuff like that, but I still think that they will be solid, and obviously Tampa Bay's defense is elite as well. So I think Bucs, same record as last year, 12-5, winning the NFC South easily there. In second place, the Saints at 8-9. They went 9-8 last year, and they played like 4 or 5 different quarterbacks, so that was very impressive. But now without Sean Payton, and they did beat the Bucs twice last year, I don't think that's going to happen again, so I'm going to have them going 8-9. I just do not think Jameis Winston is that consistent. In the 7 or 8 games he played last year, he was actually pretty good, but I don't think that's going to continue here. Sure, they do get Michael Thomas back, but I just cannot see this Saints team being as good as it was under Sean Payton, under Kelly, so give me the Saints at 8-9 there. Tied with them in third place, I'm going to go with the Panthers. Panthers were actually a sneaky good team to start last season with Darnold, but then McCaffrey got injured and it ruined their entire season. They finished 5-12. I think with Baker Mayfield here, if Christian McCaffrey doesn't get injured, they could be a sneaky playoff team, but give me them to finish at 8-9. They do have a very underrated front seven and defense as a whole. It's just that offense under Matt Rule. He has to figure it out this season, or else I think he might be out as the Panthers head coach. So I think they're going to finish 8-9 this season. Some tough division games, and I just don't think that they have enough talent on offense to win this division. But they will have a fighting chance with Baker Mayfield. They should be a fun team to watch this season. Next, in last place, another one of the bottom feeders here, we got the Atlanta Falcons, 4-13. I'm not too high on them this year with Marcus Mariota. He hasn't started in a couple of years, and I don't think he's going to be better than Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan kind of carried this team to some wins against some bad teams last year, and I just don't think that's going to happen again. I do not think that they have the talent, especially defensively, to keep up with their division teams. So I think they could be going 1-5 or 0-6 against these divisional opponents. And then offensively, I think with the way Marcus Mariota might play, I think they might have to transition to Desmond Ridder, the rookie out of Cincinnati, and that might be a cool experiment for them. But as for actually competing this season, I just do not see it happening. Next, we get into the NFC West, and we got the LA Rams finishing at 13-4, coming off of their Super Bowl win. I think Stafford's going to play a lot more reliably this regular season, not as many picks. And I think the Rams find themselves in about the same situation as they did last year. I think with Allen Robinson, he might actually be better than OBJ was last year for this team. And they do have to replace Whitworth, but I think that'll be fine because the rest of their O-line is already very solid, and they do have a great defense. Another year under McVay, I think this one is going to be a 13-1 season for the LA Rams. And second, give me the 49ers here at 12-5. I know a lot is being made of Trey Lance's first season. They did bring Jimmy G back, and I think that's going to be good for them just in case Trey Lance gets injured, or they can deal him later down the road for a team that's lost their quarterback and needs to make the playoffs. So they could potentially get a first or second rounder there. But I do really like their schedule. Even though they play the rest of the NFC West and the AFC West out of division, I still think their schedule sets up pretty nicely, and a lot of their hardest games are at home, so I think they can take advantage of that. They will be nipping on the LA Rams' heels. I think if the Rams slip up at all, this Niners team with the power running game and great defense will be there to take the top spot. In third, I'm going with the Cardinals at 9-8. This team has been very frustrating the last couple of seasons because they always start out great, but then under Kingsbury, they always fade. Kyler Murray always seems to be a little injured and less mobile later on in the season. This year might actually be a buck on that trend because they are without DeAndre Hopkins, so they might not start out as fast, but they might gain some momentum as the season goes on. A lot's being made of Murray's contract and his film study in there. I think he's going to have to set the record straight. I think he's going to have to play well to get the detractors off his back, and I think he will. I just don't think the Cardinals are as good as the Rams or Niners, but I do think they get a 9-win season this year. And in last place, we got the Seahawks at 5-12. I mean, this is the only place that they can go. They haven't been able to win reliably with Russell Wilson over the last couple of seasons, and then you take him off this team. They don't really have much. They have a decent defense, a pretty weak O-line, don't really have many good skill position players other than Lockett and DK Metcalf, no real depth. And then you take out great quarterback play. I just cannot see this team being very successful. And I don't even know why they're not going with Drew Lock. At least he's young and you don't really know what he has, even though he hasn't been that good throughout training camp and the preseason. But just going with Geno Smith, we already know what he is 10 years into the league. So that was a bit dubious there. And I think they're headed to a 5-win season. Next, we get to the AFC East, and in first place here, we got the Buffalo Bills at 13-4. They are Super Bowl favorites this year for a reason. I think Josh Allen has an MVP caliber season this year, and the defense was top 5 in the league last year. Sure, they did have a few leaks late in the season and in the playoffs versus the Chiefs, but I think they can correct some of that, so I think they have a strong record, number 1 seed in the AFC at 13-4. Next, I got the Dolphins at 9-8. People forget that they actually had this record last year despite starting out 1-7. And I think if Tua stays healthy, he can be a decent quarterback. I love their weapons with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They also acquired Raheem Mostert. If he stays healthy, he can be good. And then they also have a lot of pieces on their defense. First year under Mike McDaniel, I think will be solid at 9-8, second place in this division. Third place, we got the New England Patriots at 8-9. A couple wins less this season because I think their offense will take a hit. It has looked horrible throughout the preseason and camp, and they don't even have an offensive coordinator. I think Belichick is going to take it over, and they have overpaid a lot of their weapons. Their weapons aren't actually that good, and I just do not think Mac Jones can carry this team to the playoffs or a winning record. So give me the Patriots at 8-9 here. And then in last place, I got the Jets at 5-12. Regardless of whether Zach Wilson starts the opening game or how much he plays, I still think it won't matter that much. The Jets have improved their offense and offensive line, but I just do not think they have enough talent to compete in this division or in the AFC as a whole. So I've got them going 5-12. Next, we got the Bengals winning the AFC North at 11-6. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that playoff run was pretty lucky. All 3 of those AFC playoff games that they won were very close. Could have gone either way. And they could have won the Super Bowl, but still, I think they were a bit overrated because of that. Still, they won their division last year at 10-7. I think they'll win it again this year at 11-6. It's a strong division, but there's no team that really jumps out at you. So I think Burrow and his array of weapons with Chase, Boyd, and T. Higgins will get it done. Also have Joe Mixon. They massively retooled the offensive line. Decent defense as well. So give me the Bengals to win this division. Next, we got the Ravens at 10-7. People forget they started out 8-3 last year, then dropped their last 6 games, and they did lose Lamar Jackson for a portion of that period. So that did not help them out at all. I think if Lamar stays healthy this year, they could make a playoff run, but I just do not think they have a lot of weapons. They lost Hollywood Brown, so their best weapon right now is Rashad Bateman. Sure, they are getting J.K. Dobbins back and have a great defense and offensive line, but I think it's capped out at a 10-win season for this year in Baltimore. Next, we get to third place in the AFC North, where I got the Browns at 7-10. I would have been higher on them if Deshaun Watson was playing more, but you're telling me he's out for 11 games, and then he's going to be just magically elite in Week 13 against the Texans when he hasn't played in a couple of seasons. I just can't see that happening. I don't think they're going to be good without him either. So I think this is going to be a pretty mediocre season for this Browns team, even though they do have a lot of talent. I just do not think they have the quarterback play to sustain a winning record. Then in fourth place, I got the Steelers at 7-10. I know Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season in 15 years, but it's going to happen this year. They did scrounge together 9 wins last year under Big Ben, but they got a lot of luck to go their way. I just do not think they have the weapons. They have a good defense, but with Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett, it's just not going to happen in this tough of a division. So I'm predicting a 7-win season this year in the Steel City. Next, we got the AFC South. Pretty wacky division here, but I've got a new champion this time. We're going with the Colts at 12-5. I think Matt Ryan is a massive improvement to Carson Wentz, and this team was actually a scary team to play against last season before they faded down the stretch with Carson Wentz. They have an immaculate defense, 7 Pro Bowlers, and they do have a good offensive line with Jonathan Taylor. So I think if Matt Ryan limits the mistakes, I think this team will win this division easily at 12-5. Next, we got the Titans in second place at 9-8. I don't think they've had a losing season in like 5 or 6 seasons, so I don't think that's going to happen this year, but I think they will take a couple steps down after getting the 1 seed in AFC last year. Sure, they have Derrick Henry, but he's a little bit older, and they're going to have to rely on him the whole season, even after he got injured last year, because they lost A.J. Brown. Their best weapon right now is Robert Woods, maybe Treylon Burks. We'll see what he is. But their defense is pretty good. They have a great front 7, so that should carry them to a decent record here of 9-8. Next, we got the Jags at 6-11. Last year was an absolute tire fire under Urban Meyer, but I think they can improve a little bit under Doug Peterson. I think Trevor Lawrence won't play as bad, and I think they will take some steps forward. Still not very competitive, but 6 wins will do them nicely in Jacksonville. And then in fourth place, unfortunately it doesn't appear on your screen, but I will be taking the Texans at 4-13. Same record as last year. I just do not think Davis Mills is a long-term starter in the league, even though he did have some good moments in his rookie season. And they have Dameon Pierce at the running back position, but really nothing that stands out weapons-wise elsewhere. And their defense still isn't that good. So maybe they will take some steps forward under Lovie Smith. I don't know, but still give me a 4-win season for this Houston Texans squad. Next, and finally, we get to the AFC West, the best division in football, no question. Where in first place, bit of a shocker, I'm going with the LA Chargers at 11-6. They were challenging for this division late in the season before they had some unfortunate losses, which led to them missing the playoffs. But this year, I think they got a lot better. They added Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson to that defense. They already have a great offense led by Justin Herbert, who I think will take a step up this year. And so I think with the retooled defense, I think this team is going to win the division. Only 11-6 because I think this division will cannibalize itself. They'll have a lot of losses in division, maybe go 3-3 there. But still 11-6, good enough to win the AFC West. Barely behind them by virtue of tiebreaker. Give me the Chiefs. I think even without Tyreek Hill, they're still going to be good. They have MVS and Juju Smith-Schuster along with Sky Moore, the rookie. So I think they'll still be pretty good offensively. Defense is a bit of a concern without the Honey Badger, but I think they will still be a good enough team. 11-6 here seems about right for the Chiefs. Then in third, I've got the Raiders at 10-7. Same record as last year. I don't think there will be as much drama this season, although maybe there will with the new coach, Josh McDaniel. I think that Derek Carr will have to do a lot of carrying for this team because although the weapons are great, the offensive line is piss poor on this squad. So Derek Carr is going to have a lot to carry on his shoulders for this season, but he's proved that he's great in fourth quarter comeback type of games. And their defense is solid. They still have Max Crosby, and they did add Chandler Jones there. So I think the Raiders get into the playoffs at 10-7, third place there. Then in last, we still got the Broncos here at 8-9. I know they added Russell Wilson and they have a great defense, but I just don't think it's going to happen as they want it this year in Denver because they do not have the wide receiver play that I think they need in this division. Don't have the weapons, and Russell Wilson has kind of faded the last couple of seasons, so I just think that they're going to end up with a losing record with a very tough schedule this season and Russell Wilson's first season in Denver. Now we take a look at my projected playoff seeding. First here in the NFC, obviously got the Rams at 13-4, defending their Super Bowl championship, getting the first round bye. Then I got the Bucks 12-5, Packers 11-6, Eagles 10-7. And then in the wild card, I've got the Niners at 12-5. I've got them being my NFC champion with Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo this season. I think they picked up steam last year. Picked up some momentum and almost made it to the Super Bowl. I think they do it this year again. And then I got the Vikings 10-7, and then the Cowboys beating out the Cardinals for that 7th playoff spot there. Now we take a look at the AFC, where we got the Bills at 13-4, getting the first round bye. Then the Colts at 12-5. This might be a bit of a shocker, as was the 49ers, but I'm taking the Colts to win the AFC and be the Super Bowl champion. I think they're on the verge of that. I think they could have done it last year if they had a more competent quarterback. I just really think that their defense, special teams, and offensive line are that good. They have some decent weapons with Pittman on the outside, and I think if Matt Ryan can put it all together, this can be a Super Bowl team. Then we got the Chargers at 11-6 and the Bengals at 11-6 as well in the 3rd and 4th seeds respectively. And then you got the wild card Chiefs, Raiders, and Ravens there. So that concludes the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think of my record predictions and playoff predictions down below in the comments. As always, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.